What's up, family? What's going on? It is another day, another Mental Man Monday live stream, and things has been thinking in a good way, I think. Um, how's everybody been going? Like I said, been back consistent with the live streams, and I'm excited for today's. Now, today's gonna be a little. I knew one topic I want to talk about. Obviously, you can see it in the title. I knew one topic. The other one I wasn't so sure until I just seen it. But I'm going to talk about this because it kind of piggybacks on what we talked about in the most recent episode. Okay, so basically, let's get into just jump right into it. I won't be before you long. So this most recent episode featured my boy Nate Evans Jr., who was actually first introduced on the Mental Memo Day live stream, I think around early 2024. And I think that was when I really first started doing the live streams. He enjoyed it then, and then I said the episode's gonna be a lot different. So the episode was recorded, I think, back in like March or something crazy, and we finally dropped it. And I really like that episode because again, I like when I record episodes and I don't and then it'd be a long time for they drop because the stuff I forgot I said. Like I have forgot that whole little rant that's kind of going up on social media right now where I talked about hygiene, and then I added a twist and talked about Houston Sunday Fun Day. But I was just talking about people be outside musty. And like I said, the grace I give you with that is with the gym. You can be musty at the gym. We at the gym. But people be musty in regular places, and I just be like, what's going on? And sometimes things happen. I remember one time I used to be at one job, and I smelled must, and I thought it was me. And I was just like, dang, I'm musty like that. I need to do something about that. So it was hot, and I went to go put my denim jacket on because I'm like, well, I don't want nobody smelling me. I thought it was me, y'all. It was my coworker. Crazy work. And that ended up being a regular thing for them. But I digress. But anyway, getting back to the episode. So last week's episode centered around the orphan spirit, vulnerability. You know, what inspired it was when I was doing my research on Nate, because I already knew him. Shout out to him if he sees this. And I remember we were just talking about you know, him being a mental health advocate and men being vulnerable. And then, of course, the spiritual aspect or the spirituality behind it is a lot of times men can't be because of that spirit, because of the orphan spirit, which we did a great deep dive on, and vulnerability and why men are scared to be vulnerable. And like I said, going back to Cindy Trim's sermon she did, I want to say in like 2017. And it's so crazy how sermons from years ago still be holding weight. And she broke down the signs of somebody that suffers from that. And a lot of the things I even said was me, like how I said it was like they'll always know just enough about a person. You never know too much. And they're not, and they're socially clumsy. Well, she said socially aware, but I feel like that's me because like, I got lost in the sauce. That ain't never happened before. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi right now, but I don't know where it cut off at. But I do know I was just talking about the traits of the orphan spirit and some things that most people aren't aware of, and the breakdown of it, because she gave a good breakdown on that and on her YouTube video, discovering think your true self or something like that. I got to go look at it, but yeah, it was there. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. I'm gonna add it in the link it's in the episode bio, so you should check that out. Where it's gonna be, I think it is officially. But the episode was good because I saw Nate laughing a lot and just being himself, and compared to the first time we did the live stream where he was engaged for sure, but this time I feel like because a lot of it too was an interview, so it was a lot of personal questions and talks about being in the hood and growing up. You got to be tough, especially as a black man. You got to play that tough role. You can't be letting people see you like this. So it can be a lot. It can be a lot. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. Still up, still positive. And then the title also highlights how like your true self that your friends don't know, your boys don't know, because a lot of us men are trying to act one way. But he also, what I liked in the episode, he talked about how him and his friends got together and have worship sessions, and they were vulnerable with each other and, you know, went deeper than just like, oh, I'm okay, and really talked about how they are as mentally, you know. People say they want that online, but in reality, I don't think a lot of people really want that. I think people say it because it sounds good, but it's good to see that he did that and that, you know, he's going against the norm, so to speak, you know. But either way, I like that episode. Honestly, I'm about to get back in. You know, I break the fourth wall here. I'm about to get back in the season of just recording buku episodes because I ain't gonna lie, I'm running out. So I think I got 2 left in the can, and one of them dropping this week. So this week and next week, I got to start back recording. I want to probably have in the month of July, probably have about 5 or 6 recorded, just because. Yeah. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you go check that episode out. It was a good one. And we about to jump into our first topic for today. Now, this one was literally a 5-minute ago topic, but it needed to be talked about because I did have a post and did have a discussion about hygiene with men and being musty, right? So if we had the episode about being musty, or the segment about me speaking on men's hygiene and being musty, that's another one we need to talk about is teeth. A lot of times people don't take care of their teeth. And I think it's crazy how people be kissing on people, putting their mouth on people, doing all this freaky deaky stuff, and you don't take care of your mouth. That is insane. That's insane. So rapper Finesse2Tymes talked about how he did his teeth before he got the veneers. So I'm about to share my screen and we about to listen to what he said because it's low-key wild. And I'm gonna let y'all see the teeth.
I know better before I got my teeth fixed. I was a street brushing my teeth. I wanted some money. You talking about? But when I did better, hey man, quit playing with me, man. You know better, you do better, man. You know, you gotta learn. Yeah, I ain't used to brush my teeth. No teeth run in my family. So it is what it is. But guess what now though? 250. 250. Yeah, 250 on. Yeah. You never see this. Huh? Yeah, I ain't used to brush my teeth. I ain't brushed my teeth before I got them fixed. Yeah, because I ain't know no better.
All right. So let's unpack this, please, because I got a lot to say. What does this have to do with mental health? So, firstly, okay, study of how we act, think, and feel. Decision making, right? So, a lot of hood, we talk again, it's all the lines, right? A lot of hood ninjas, you know, I feel like I think that a lot of yeah, I think it's the weather starting to weather again in Houston. So I think that's what's doing it. This has never happened before, but we back. So let me go and get to talking because I'm gonna have to probably end this early because of the weather. But going back to what I was saying, I think a lot of hood ninjas, I think they associate cleanliness with like being feminine. Because if you notice, a lot of hood dudes, you know, the manicures and the pedicures, you know, some people just refuse. I know dudes personally, like I'm not getting a manicure or pedicure. They will say that. But you know, doing face routines and facials and, you know, grooming yourself with brushing your teeth, I thought was a normal one. You know, my teeth are pretty white, I ain't gonna lie. But and I think I've only had 2 cavities in my life. I actually technically have one all the way in the back now, but it's real small. So I'm really making, you know, really on that because I don't want to get no bigger and I don't want to try to get nothing removed, you know, no tooth, no crazy. But I think a lot of hood ninjas associate cleanliness with femininity. So they thinking I'm a man, I'm supposed to have dirt under my fingernails, I'm supposed to have crazy teeth and, you know, feet beat up, and I'm supposed to have a little stench to me. And there's certain things men gonna do, but I just think the teeth, to me, I just feel like that's a little too far. Now, he did say, you heard him say, when you know better, you do better. But I don't know. I've always was taught a headache and a toothache is some of the worst pains you can have. And I really only had tooth pain for real when I was getting my wisdom teeth coming in, y'all. And when they was coming in, the two at the bottom, so two at the top was growing in out. This one on this side was growing in like upside down. I don't know how. And then this one on this side was growing in like this, like sideways. So yeah, I don't see how people be constantly having to get teeth removed and stuff. That's wild to me. But hey, you do you. WWID, what would I do in this situation? Well, I wouldn't have been in that situation. I wouldn't have been in that situation with my teeth. But if I was him and which we got to give Finesse2Tymes his tens, because he said, when you know better, you do better. He ain't know no better. And a lot of these hood dudes too be raising themselves. And it's like, I don't feel like brushing my teeth. You was a kid. Did you feel like brushing your teeth? You ain't feel like getting up to go do. You ain't feel like that. And then you will halfway do it just so you could be done with it. And like I think about growing up when I used to spend at my grandma's house, she used to say, you have to brush your teeth before you eat breakfast, which we all know that's foolish because you technically supposed to brush your teeth and let it sit for like 20 to 30 minutes. So if you go brush your teeth and go eat right after, you just defeated the purpose. Me personally, if I had breakfast and stuff when I had my kids, I believe I'm going to teach them how to wash their face first if they're going to eat breakfast, which, you know, I'm going to teach them how to wash their, like go in the bathroom, wash your hands, wash your face, eat, then go brush your teeth, because it don't make sense to brush your teeth now and you begin to ruin it. That's why it really don't matter. And then you know, kids, they ain't going to be flossing. So that's really why people be getting cavities too. They don't be flossing. Something to think about. You can brush them good, but if you don't floss, it don't matter. WWJD, what would Jesus do? So in a situation, what is the ethically, morally correct thing to do? If your teeth beat up like that, go get them done if you can afford it. But if you take care of them now, you don't have to worry about that. See, what you'll be able to do is just maintenance. Now, a little tip, a free tip that I ain't no dentist, but I do know because it's been approved by dentists, it's been approved by scientists. You can kill a lot of bacteria getting a gold mouthwash, the gold Listerine. That kills so much. That's actually the cleanest, like not the cleanest, but the best, one of the best mouthwashes you can do. It actually kills germs, and it's actually been proven scientifically to kill the disease that went around a few years ago. Those germs, it can kill a lot of germs. So even if you're sick, I would say use that too, because it'll kill all of the germs and the bacteria that's sitting and lodged in your mouth. And also it'll kill the germs if you out here doing other stuff you ain't supposed to be doing. WSMD, what should men do? Now, let me really sit here for a minute. Let's unpack this. Men, I said this in the episode with the hygiene and the deodorant. We have to do better. We have to do better with hygiene. Pedicures and manicures, you don't want to do that because that's gay to you, cool. But the teeth, you have to brush your teeth at least twice a day, in the morning and before you go to bed. You have to floss. You have to get into a face routine. You have to drink water. These are things you have to do. Y'all just want to die at 50 because like my grandparents' parents and their grandparents, them people was dying at 50. Them men was dying at 55 and stuff because they didn't take care of themselves. And then of course we can get to the food, and we done a nutrition episode. But I you know what? I think we're gonna have to do an episode over like hygiene. I think we're gonna have to do an episode over hygiene. I really do. I think, you know what, we're gonna do an episode over hygiene. I'm gonna find somebody and we're gonna get that done. But seriously, brush your teeth twice a day. Like I remember I was in the car with one of my neighbors, and he's from Mississippi, like real country town in Mississippi. And I was putting on lips. I gotta hurry up, the storming. I put on some lip chap like before we got the car. He said, "See, I would never do that in front of my homeboys." I was like, "What you mean?" He was like, "Putting on lip chap." He talking about something because I'm not saying it was you. He's like, "But you know, that just looked gay to me." And I'm like, this is the problem in America today. Y'all don't shower correctly. You seen on that post a girl who I know personally talked about how dudes shower. I'm not gonna repeat it, but I don't get you people. I don't get y'all. Y'all just some filthy people. Y'all are filthy. We gotta do better. All right, y'all. I hate to be rushing like this, but we got to get to the next topic because the stuff going on. So, all right. So the next topic is the grand topic, and we're talking about Nelly. Now, we talked about Nelly around January with my good people from the Relationship Battle Twins podcast. He actually is not defending himself yet again. His show's popping with Ashanti, and he was on a podcast recently and gave his take on how he never endorsed the president. He just endorsed the office. So let me share my screen, and we about to watch this clip. All right, and I'm gonna get y'all out of here because, like I said, that Wi-Fi tripping, and I ain't got time to keep logging in and on. All right, let's do it.
Stances out here.
Oh yeah.
You still on your pro Donald Trump stance?
See, this is what I'm saying. What did you get pro Donald?
I didn't
What did you get pro? What you had was respect for office.
Okay.
And it's great how people spin narratives to things that I think best fit whatever they're against.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Instead of giving a brother the exact fundamental of what he did, what he said. Nobody's doing that anymore. Everybody's, if you did this, you're for him. And it's amazing how you could do something, but if you don't agree with everything that somebody does, which I plainly said that I don't agree with everything my wife does. So to be in a situation to where, no, I have respect for the office. This person does some things good. This person does something good. I never endorsed any president.
Nelly, they've been had you under fire, man. We've been talking about you.
You know what I'm saying? I've never did that a day in my life. What I did say is that I'm a military brat. I love our men and women that service this country. I've done things all around this country. I've entertained the troops. Nobody brought that up. I've stay a commitment in my community. You know what I'm saying? And I have a beautiful black family. You know what I'm saying? I've never did that a day in my life. What I did say is that I'm a military brat. I love our men and women that service this country. I've done things all around this country. I've entertained.
All right, so let's unpack this. What does this have to do with mental health? Again, the study of how we act, think, and feel. So, y'all know how I feel about the presidential election. Again, the president on the mainstream, on the main stage, that is, y'all don't want to hear this. That is call me conspiracy theories. It's a matrix. Y'all getting caught up in stuff, like I said, but y'all don't even vote locally. Vote locally. Like I said, you can do what you want with your vote, but y'all getting caught up in that president stuff. I don't know. You can feel how you want to feel, but cutting off people over that is ridiculous. I don't care what nobody say. Canceling people over that is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I said it, then I said it again. Now, I saw a comment before I actually watched the video where somebody tried to say, somebody saying a whole bunch of nothing. I think he said a lot of everything. He said he's a military brat. He said he never endorsed the president. He said that he didn't endorse any president. He said that I can see a logical person can look on both sides and see both of them are doing things good and bad. You know what I'm saying? But in the same breath, he never said he endorsed anybody publicly. He felt like this is opportunity to perform at the White House. This is an honorable thing. Then people was like, well, he don't respect the office. So y'all talking about Donald Trump. I said, look, at the end of the day, I just don't think it's that deep. He's a performer. He gets paid to perform. So I don't get what y'all thought. Y'all act like this was his first time ever performing, and he just said, I'm gonna just go do this for Donald Trump. He got paid to do it. It was something that his family can say that we was at the White House. If we all know if it was Barack in office, y'all wouldn't have cared. If it was Joe Biden in office or Kamala in office, y'all wouldn't have cared. But because it's Donald, y'all like, nah, he shouldn't have did it. He should have just said no, and we gonna cancel him for it. I think that's childish. And also, like he said, another thing, what about all the other stuff that he has done? Why do we all? And maybe I take that personally because people do that to me. Why don't we ever highlight what somebody else, all the good stuff? We only see the bad. We never see the good things that they do. I just think that that's lame. I don't know, maybe because he from St. Louis and I'm from St. Louis, I'm going hard. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I just think that's just stupid to just cut that man off or just say like, oh, he shouldn't have did that and we're going to cancel him for that because I don't know. WWID, what would I do in this situation? I have no allegiance to nobody but Jesus. So even though I'm jumping ahead of myself with WWJD. So I have no allegiance to any president. I don't support none of that. But what I will say is, unless it goes against my spiritual beliefs, that's the only allegiance I got. Anything else is up in the air. You know what I mean? Usually then, even before I do something, I always pray and seek guidance on it. So I don't. That's just me. But that's what I would do in a situation. But honestly, I'm not gonna. He really ain't even defending himself like that. Thing he only defended himself twice. In this case, he was asked about it. But I like how he ain't out here just going on getting live on IG or making YouTube videos talking about it. He just like, y'all do what y'all want. And if you cancel me for that, to me, you've been looking for a reason. And I had a situation recently where somebody tried to come at me about something. You was looking for a reason. You was looking for a reason. I don't even care. So it is what it is. WWJD, what would Jesus do in the situation? Ethically and the morally correct thing to do. So what would Jesus say to that? I don't know his spiritual relationship with God or whatever, but did he ask God, like, what would I do? What should I do here? We all do know that Jesus will call you to do things that might get you canceled by the world. It might not necessarily be performing at the White House, but there will be things. There's a myriad of other things he could have you call you to do that will get you canceled. And what you gonna do when you get canceled by the world? That's why it's best to be in positions where the world can't put you on, because if they put you on, they can take you down. You have to be unblackballable. I don't know if I said that right, but you make it to where they can't blackball you. But see, a lot of these people, not necessarily Nelly, and sold out. So now it's like that they have no choice but to do what they say do, or they're gonna do it. But in this situation, you will be called to do something. If you walking for God for real, to do what Jesus will tell you to do, something you don't want to do, and they might get you canceled. What you gonna do then? What you gonna do then? WSMD, what should men do? Men should always put their feet planted in the ground and stand behind their decisions, no matter what it is, no matter who's against it. You can always come back and say, you know what? I got that wrong here. But in the same breath, at least you stand on your decision. At least you are consistent with your beliefs or whatever that may be. And if that's his belief, I can't say he's wrong for that. If he wants to say, I did this so my bloodline, I'm sure the check was good. But if I'm doing this so my bloodline was able to say we was at the White House, and so be it. And also, Tiffany Montgomery said the best, heaven hires your accusers. So even though I'm sure he didn't do this for the clout, him being at the White House and getting out of backlash put his name in search engines. So unintentionally, I mean, some people probably deleted him off their phone records and all that and off their music catalog, but there's a lot of people who went to go re-listen to his songs, put more money in his pocket, his eyes on his profile. So, something to think about that we tend to leave out. All right, y'all. So that is all for today. Seems like the Wi-Fi started getting together at the end. I saw some consistent people on. I don't know. I think they left when I Yeah, we about to get off because it's tripping, but that's okay. We done anyway. But this week's episode features my boy, and everything is aligning with just for me with church. That's why I love when I record episodes a long time ago and then they finally drop. And then just all things I've been doing, because the episode is gonna be about features my boy Andre. He's a part of Just Create in Detroit. We unpack a lot of things. We talk about Christian clubs. We talk about spiritually gaslighting yourself. It's based one of the themes is Proverbs 16:3, which is commit your plans to the Lord and let him establish them. But also go do what God told you. The meme reads, go do what God told you to do 6 months ago. So a lot of y'all could have been rich. A lot of y'all could have been where you want to be. So, and that's even a message for me, y'all. So trust me. I've been on it consistently, posting on TikTok. So yeah. All right, y'all. That is all for today. Thank y'all for tuning into the live stream. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And remember, as always, remember, y'all, I love us for real. See you this week.